Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the 12th episode of the Lounge Podcast. A whole lot of things are happening out there, a whole lot of things. It's the world you're living in, day by day. And at this moment, we realize we are only alive just because the superpowers want us to be alive at the moment. And if your country does not have a missile defense system, the ballistic launchers, the drones, the nukes, you just need to sit down and pray, because that's the best you can do. Anyway, the cricket T20 World Cup is still going on, and it's now going into the final. India and New Zealand. Who would have guessed? Because no country has ever retained the T20 World Cup, and now India is in the final again. New Zealand proved not to be strong back then because they lost a game but qualified. South Africa had won all the games, but they lost to New Zealand. It's just unfortunate, but it's an interesting tournament. I've been checking the stats and the figures. Yeah, it's interesting out there, and people actually love it. You know, the atmosphere, the energy, it's just different in India. So 8 March the final will be held, and as for me, I'll be supporting India. If SA was in the finals, I would have gone with SA, but it's just unfortunate our neighbors didn't make it. But that was a good run. And the other unfortunate thing is that they have never won the T20 World Cup. But they have a strong side. They have a very, very good team. The guys like Brevis, Rikuton, Rabada, they did well. So I am Team India when it comes to the finals, and I have said it. I just hope they do lift again. And now we go to the USA, Israeli and Irani war. It's just something else. The missiles. Sometimes we just think, is this a video game? Because the way these things are happening, the drones, the defense systems, and it's hard to imagine that all those weapons of destruction were designed to kill the human being. All those weapons and how advanced they are, the budgets that go into manufacturing those bombs. It was just meant to kill the human being. So as it stands, and with all those investments, humans are just a challenge to themselves. But anyway, so I've been trying to understand the origins of the war. I did a research and I've been trying to understand, okay, how did these guys end up here? How did that happen? And is the story going to be resolved? Is the conflict going to be resolved amicably? And is the war going to end? But from my research, I realized the war is never going to end. It's just twists and turns that's going to happen, but the war is never going to end. A truce can be done, yes, for a few years and it starts again. So this is how the whole equation started, right? So that started around 1933. Adolf Hitler, the German Chancellor, was still alive and he was the one ruling Germany. So after the World War, Hitler realized that he had lost the war and he needed to find out what happened. So now he had to persecute the Jews. The Holocaust happened. Why? He was blaming the Jews for losing the war. He was blaming the Jews for the economic hardships that were happening, unemployment and other things. He was blaming the Jews. So Hitler is responsible for killing 6 million Jews in concentration camps and across Europe. All this is blamed on Adolf Hitler. So now when the Jews realized that they are being persecuted, a genocide was happening, 6 million had already died. They had to flee. To those who had survived, they had to move away from Europe. So they moved to Palestine. When they moved to Palestine, the Jews say, this is our ancestral land. This is our land. Now the question arises, if it's your land, how did you end up in Europe? Okay, this is not what happens. They ended up in Europe because of the Romans. The Roman Empire conquered their land and they moved to Europe as slaves. So this is what happened. Now, questions arise on whether there's the true Israelites or not. The Israel we know of today was formed in 1948. The Israel we know today was formed in 1948. Okay, let me put it into this. The former president Robert Mugabe was around 20 years by then when the current Israel was formed by refugees from the Holocaust because they were being persecuted by Adolf Hitler. But they were coming to their ancestral land, now occupied by the Palestinians. So very few guys came at first, around 400,000. Around 400,000, yeah. Those are the guys came at first, and all those who were all over Europe started coming. But now their numbers started to grow. And they were pushing the Palestinians away. And the Palestinians now are claiming, you cannot be doing this to us in our own land, in our ancestral land. These ones are saying, it's our land. So I'd like to give this example. Take a look at Mzilika's story, how he left South Africa, crossed the Limpopo and settled this side. That happened a long time ago. And if it happens now that they get to think, okay, we need to go back home, and they cross the Limpopo again, are they going to be accepted back in their area, or now they are actually refugees? So this is more like the story. So now it happens, Israelites started attacking the Palestinians, the Gaza Strip. It's been an area of conflict for a very long time. And now Palestine is weak. It cannot afford to fight anymore because they're fighting against the Israelites. These are the owners of capital in the world. And as the statistics say, they have more millionaires than any other country in the world. They have around 400,000 millionaires. So these are the owners of the capital in the world. They have businesses all over. So they have control over so many things. That's how they actually build a relationship with a superpower, the United States of America. But whatever happens, there's so much money they have. Throughout their entire life, the Jews have never ever known peace. Because as I've actually researched, they're believed to be intelligent and financially intelligent and successful. And in whatever they think of doing, they succeed. But that same blessing again, it came with a case of displacement and wars in all the time of their existence. So all I can say is the Jews are blessed and cursed at the same time. That's the conclusion I can actually draw from this, because in most of their lives they have been at war, they have been slaves, but they always come back strong. So now it happens the moment they settle in the Middle East, the region was no longer peaceful. And they have a superpower behind their back. So now Iran is saying, okay guys, it's enough. You've done enough damage. You've destabilized the area. And it's enough. It's enough. So now the guys were saying, why did Iran bomb everyone? It's actually not like that. Iran bombed the USA bases in the Middle East. The army of the USA is so advanced that they have a military base in almost each and every continent. They have a military base and they are ready to attack. That's what it means. So now Iran is saying, no, they need to move out. So they bombed all the bases in Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Israel. They bombed. And the war started now. Innocent lives are being lost. It's just chaos. Fuel prices are going up because of that war. And who feels it the most? Those countries without the means of production, those countries that rely on other nations for survival. It's now being tough because Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz. It's now tough. But we go on. The leader of Iran, he's not the president, but he's the religious leader of the Muslims in Iran. He was eliminated by a bomb. He was eliminated. And now Iran is saying we're not going to back down. You guys have done enough damage and it's time out. Missiles are just raining like cats and dogs in the Middle East. I saw the other clip when a guy was actually using football commentary to comment while missiles were flying on the background. And for some of us in peaceful nations, it's so hard to come across an AK-47 in the streets. It's so hard. And as for me, actually, I've never seen a gun being fired. The only guns I see are those of the security guys while collecting money at the banks. That's the only time I have seen those huge machines. But now imagine you're in a place where you actually see a drone flying, a missile flying. Peace is very important. Peace is very important because economies thrive when there is peace. And when there is no peace, it's tough to do something actually meaningful. So now I just have an interesting point. So back then, Ramaphosa went to SA. He was being accused of neglecting the Boers, and Trump was ready to take the farmers. But actually, there's no genocide in SA. There's nothing like that. But now something is happening in the Middle East. It's obvious the Israelites are not actually wanted there because they bring bad news in most of the cases. So if Trump and the USA cared so much about the Israelites, they're just 9 million Israelites in Israel right now. And there are 12 million green card holders in the USA. These are legal immigrants in the USA, right? And there are over 52 million illegal immigrants in the USA. 52 million. So my question is, okay, if the world needs peace and if the world is going to be a better place, and if you care so much about the Israelites, right? If you care so much about the Jews because you're defending them, you're fighting for them now and then, why not just take the 9 million into the USA, give them a piece of land, give them a place to stay? They're just 9 million because you now have 52 million immigrants. So if you care so much about the Israelites, just take them in. They're 9 million and you have 52 million immigrants. So it's just easy. But USA is so clever that they know, no, we cannot take these guys in. Yes, we need their money, we need their ideas, we need their help here and there, but we cannot take them in because they are bad news. Wherever they go, war follows them. That is the reason why that relationship is based on attacking other people. Mostly because it doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold up. And the war is actually never going to end. They just keep on fighting day in, day out. You know the Middle East. So we're just going to stand by, wait for it to ease a bit, and in a few years it starts again. But the truth is, the world is a better place for everyone. But money controls us big time. So now, the Zimbabwe PSL is going to start next week. And okay, it's getting interesting because now we're seeing more clubs with money coming in. But the Castle Premier League, the winner was getting 100,000 only. And teams have huge budgets. And you just cannot understand why this was happening. So the cards changed. A $5 million cup was launched, and it's going to benefit everyone, starting from grassroots football. So it's just going to be interesting. And guess what? Another new team in the league, Hard Rock, and they're the only team with a very good stadium. I just hope we get to have some good football in Zimbabwe, some good football in the local league. It's probably shaping up, but administration needs to play a very huge part towards those things so that they shape up. Good times are coming for the soccer players. Good times are coming. So we just have to go on to Raymer. Okay. The guy had a single hit song. And the next thing that comes on before another good song is a baby mama drama. Okay, you can be a good artist, you can be very outstanding out there, but without discipline, without proper management, we have seen this before, and it's going to repeat itself again and again. All these artists without discipline, they go through the drain. That's it. One hit song and the drama. We have heard Rocky. He was and he's still talented, but discipline pulled him all down. Personally, I think if he was disciplined, if he had kept working, Rocky could have been at the levels of P-Square in Nigeria. But women kufadaya. He's just surviving out there. And this is what happens. If you're so good and you're disciplined, you take others with you. Amatuke, you cannot understand how good was Rocky. You cannot understand that. But today, you cannot mention XQ and Rocky in the same sentence. It's an insult to XQ. But it's life. You have to stay in the game for the longest time possible. You have to stay disciplined. You have to keep working. That's how you have to do it. You just don't have to just have a single hit song and drama. Women, my guy, the ghetto is going to swallow you. There are no two ways about that. We need discipline. And if you're disciplined and if you're good, you take others with you. But you, I don't know. Somebody needs to be there for the kid. I think we really need music institutions that are there to shape up these guys. That can help us. Because these things keep on repeating itself and the industry actually doesn't develop that much. But anyway, That's the life of the ghetto youth. Next 2 years, you're on the bridge smoking weed with other guys. And people will be pointing their fingers at you. He's the guy, but there'll be nothing to show for it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for watching. This was the first episode to be recorded during the night. I just hope its quality and other things is good. Thank you so much.